Oh, look at this. We finally have Google Gemini's answer to GPTs from OpenAI. Yes, OpenAI released GPTs like back in November, so I don't know, almost 10 months ago. However, after announcing GEMS in their I/O conference, Google has finally rolled out kind of their version of custom GPTs in their Gemini GEMS. Essentially, these are smaller versions of their Gemini large language model that you can customize for a very specific task. All right, so we're gonna give you a very quick overview. We're gonna build a gem here live and tell you exactly how to get access to Google GEMS because it's not really easy. All right, let's go ahead and jump into it. So if you're new here, what's going on? My name's Jordan. I run Everyday AI. We're a daily live stream podcast and free daily newsletter helping everyday people learn and leverage generative AI. And almost every single day we do an AI in 5, which is a quick tip, trick, or tutorial on how to use generative AI to grow your business. So if that's you, please make sure to subscribe to this channel, follow us, whatever, but go to youreverydayai.com, sign up for that free daily newsletter. All right, so here's how to get access. So number one, you have to be on a paid Google Gemini account. Is that called advanced? I think. It might be called Enterprise. It might be called Gemini for Business. Google changes the name of their, $20 or $30 a month Gemini, I swear, at least once a quarter. So it used to be called like Gemini Pro, then it was called Gemini Ultra. Now it might be called Gemini Advanced or Gemini Enterprise. I don't know. And it's also kind of hard to find. All right, so here's what you're going to need to do. So you're going to need to log into your admin console. And I'll try to leave this link in the video description. It kind of goes over it, but it's still a little difficult because first you have to be on the Gemini Advanced plan. So you can click that and you just, essentially you're gonna get caught in this never-ending loop of help articles that aren't super helpful. So you're just gonna need to go into your admin console. So this is if you are a Google Workspace user. I haven't tried this on my personal account. I have multiple paid and multiple free accounts for Google and all products just because we do a lot of testing. So you're gonna need to go into your admin console. And then there's a little tab over here that says generative AI. So you're gonna need to go to click the Gemini and make sure that the status is on for everyone, or at least for the users that are going to be using it. All right. Again, I already lost my spot there. All right, so there we go. So you need to make sure that this is turned on. You need to also make sure that you have these workspace extensions turned on. You might have to enable these at the domain level, so you might need to be the domain administrator to even access this admin panel. Then you need to go to Gemini for Workspace. Make sure you have toggle this alpha features on. All right. I think if you do all that, and if you're on the paid plan, refresh your account. This is what we did, and then you should have access. Okay, so now let's get into it. So if you go to the normal Google Gemini, you're probably going to see an interface like this. All right, and if you click, if you click New Chat, this is not how you find GEMS. It's kind of down here hidden, but you're going to need to scroll to your left-hand side and click this Gem Manager. All right, so these are the pre-built gems or custom versions of Google Gemini that Google has built in. So the Brainstormer, Career Guide, Coding Partner, Writing Editor, and the Learning Coach. So you can click on it and you can start talking with it live, okay? Also, if you want to see some best practices, here's a little tip. Click Make a Copy, because then you can see what the instructions are that Google put in its actual version. So that's always best, is to kind of copy, right? Same thing with OpenAI's GPTs. You should see how OpenAI themselves builds them and then kind of like borrow from them. All right, so what we are going to do now is create a version of Google Gemini that we can use for a specific purpose. All right, so I did do one test one. My video recording software doesn't work, so technically I've done this once. I didn't save it though because I wanted to do it from scratch. So I'm gonna click New Gem, and I'm gonna call this Podcast Planner. All right. And so essentially what we're doing is we're going to replicate, we have this similar one inside of ChatGPT. All right, so all we're doing is we're literally copying and pasting this information right here, and we're changing one thing where we tell this podcast planner to use browse with Bing. We are replacing that with Google. All right, so you don't need to read this line for line, but I'll kind of show you what we're doing here. So all I'm doing here is I'm saying, giving a little bit of information about the task, a little bit about everyday AI, the goal of this, kind of some instructions, and what they ultimately need to do. So I am telling it to browse with Google, right, to find more information. And then I'm saying, ultimately, here's the 4 things I'm going to give you, or the 4 things you will need to give me. 10 suggested titles for this podcast, if none are given. Do some basic research on the guest and the company. Questions I can, in theory, ask that are sorted by category, and unique ideas that I could market or promote the episode. All right, so I'm going to click save. Very basic stuff here, right? So now you can go to start chat. All right, so now all I'm doing is I had a great guest on today's show. So I had Tracy Gusher, who's one of the data leads at EY, one of the largest consulting companies in the world. So I have some basic information here that their team sent over. So, nothing proprietary, no, personal information or anything like that. All right, so all I'm going to do now is I'm going to paste this into this new Google Gem. And again, all this is you are creating a technically a smaller version of Google Gemini that you can use, right? So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to paste this information in here. I shouldn't have to say anything else. It should go through and give me those 4 outputs that I asked for. All right, so let's see how this new gem does. All right, it took me away from my chat because it gave me a little system prompt. So I'm not sure if that, okay, doesn't look like it worked. So I'm gonna have to go back in and try it one more time. All right, there we go. So it's giving me my suggested titles. Let's see how these are. So one thing I specifically asked for is I said, do not include the company's name or the guest's name. So it looks like for the most part, it only did that on one. And it also didn't, this really doesn't have much to do with finance, but I'll let that one slide. Okay, so here's some basic research, okay? So it looks like right here, it looks like for the most part, this is all information that was already included. It does not appear to be any new information. Like I told it to, essentially browse with Google. Okay, it's giving me some relevancy here. Okay, so that's not bad. Questions for the guest, so it should be sorted by category. So here's the category, here's some questions, category questions, pretty good. And then some unique ideas for marketing and promoting the episode, okay? Nothing super unique here, but that's okay. It went through, it did its job, right? I'd say maybe, I'll give it a B, so nothing earth-shattering there. So let's just do the exact same thing now inside of the GPT. So again, this is essentially Google's version of GPTs, which we've had access to now for about 8 or 9 months. So you'll see right there, I can already tell. And I like this about GPTs and ChatGPT. I know that it did what I told it to. It went out and it brought in new information. It did additional research. And I don't know if Google did that. It didn't look like it did, even though I instructed it to use Google. So similarly, the only thing I changed in the instructions is in this instruction for this GPT, it says use browse with Bing. And in the custom gem instructions, it says use Google to search. It's the only thing I changed. All right, so suggested titles. So we have 10. None of them are using EY or the guest name, which I said. Research, okay. So it looks like it is bringing in some additional research that was not in the information that I brought in. So Google Gems did not do that. Suggested questions, okay. Pretty good. Questions by category. All right, and marketing and promotion ideas. All right, so live webinar, case study series. Okay, so I actually think, the GPT did a slightly better job on doing some unique marketing and promotion ideas. I asked for unique ideas, where the gems just gave me some very much more straightforward. So, I mean, out of the box, gems seem okay. So it really depends on how you would be using the base model. One other thing that is super important to know. So I can chat with multiple, right? So I can go podcast planner, right? So I'm just starting a new chat here. So I can mention different GPTs inside of ChatGPT, and then I can keep all of that context going. So then let me just move myself out of the way here. So now I could do, right? So once this is done, all right, let me just do this one. So I could say do additional research on EY, I think it's EYQ, is that what it's called? Their large language model. Let's see, EYQ, okay. So now I can chat with another GPT, whether it's my GPT or different GPTs, and I can keep that context in the same window, and I can keep going back and forth. So unfortunately, it doesn't look like I can do that. It doesn't look like I can do that inside of Google Gems. Let me just double check. So yeah, it doesn't look like it. And also that was not saved for whatever reason. Okay, so interesting. So I did have the conversation. It doesn't look like it's saved. Oh, wait, it did, sorry. Okay, so let me go back into the conversation. I'm just double checking this. So yeah, it doesn't look like I can use other gems, and that's a huge downside. Let me just try one more time. So let's see, one was called Brainstorm. Yeah, so it doesn't look like you can use other gems. So it looks like you can only use other extensions. So pros and cons, right? So if you like the Google Gemini model more for whatever reason versus custom GPTs, definitely something to keep in mind, that you might really like this. At least for me, again, very quick comparison. I like GPTs more. It looks like in this very limited kind of review here, it looks like the GPT did a much better job at instruction following. It doesn't look like the Google Gem actually went out and Googled like I told it to in its instructions. It did some small things wrong, like it didn't give me the, I said don't give me episode titles with the company name in it. 1 out of 10 did, not a huge deal. I don't think it did very good idea for giving me unique ideas for marketing. These aren't very unique. So pros and cons, but there you go. Google Gems are out. Their version or their kind of answer to custom GPTs from OpenAI and ChatGPT. So let me know what you think. If this was helpful, let me know. But also, please go to youreverydayai.com, sign up for the free daily newsletter, and we'll see you back for another AI in 5. Thanks, y'all.